Bingo. We're recording right
All
now.
right. All right.
So here's my point. What?
Are we recording?
Oh,
Well, introduce the whole segment properly here if you're going to record.
all right. All right. This is Thomas Leonardo Rosnek, or Rosnek, as you might call him. Roz, some people call him. He is a nearly famous individual who spent a lot of time up on stage trying to make people laugh.
I had my 15 minutes of fame.
15 minutes.
And that's all you needed. Andy Warhol said that, so I had my 15 minutes.
Yeah, in the future. But
no, actually, I was famous in Tampa Bay there when Pee Wee Herman had that tragedy when he was caught jerking off. I wrote a song about that called "The Wad of Life." Here come Pee Wee going through the porno movies, bopping his baloney instead of getting laid. Here come Pee Wee, he's watching out the nurses sitting in the back roads, walking away. He got the lotion, he got the motion. Oh yeah, the boy can't play. Masturbation, ejaculation. That's when the cops shouted out that this is a raid. And after all the evidence and double talk, he'll write a story about that night. Pee Wee shot the wad. He shot the wad of life. And Cheryl actually made up those the title of that.
Here's a weird thing about that. Right about this, I don't know if it was the same time that happened or soon afterwards. That's when we lived right next. Terry Schulman's was right next to that porno theater.
That's right. Yeah, you knew the notorious.
Every day I would walk from where I lived near Siesta Key Beach over to Terry Schulman's, and I'd walk right. I'd see that porno place every day. And by the way, I never went in there, but you know, I didn't want to sit on the damn chairs, after what they did there. And,
Cheryl and I went in there one evening, and we took the Terry Schulman van with us. And you remember Miss Audrey, who used to work there?
Yes, I do.
She was prim and proper with a very arrogant Southern aristocratic accent. And Red Lobster happened to be right next door to the Pee Wee movie porn house. And when we were in there, we actually parked the Schulman van over at the Red Lobster restaurant because we didn't want it to be seen in front of the movie theater. So Miss Audrey came in and she said, "Oh, Tom is here." So she actually tried to...
She came looking for you in Red Lobster. Said, where could he be?
She looked at every table. Then she finally had us paged over the loudspeakers. Oh. And she said, "Where the heck are they?" And so we told them that we went across the street to eat at, I think there was a barbecue place or something. We told them. You know, and I don't know if she bought that or not, but it's my story.
Maybe, I bet she did, because she obviously didn't register immediately that. Wait a minute now. After you went there, did you guys make out?
Well, not during, but afterwards we got a lot more.
No, during, because I know they arrest you.
There's a few positions that I didn't quite know about. I knew all 69 positions up to that point, but I think I got up to about 83, 84.
No, that's, I used to go to naked women bars, not a lot, and I stopped going, and I know this might sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but I felt like it was sad. If I'm gonna get all turned on, personally, if I'm going to get all...
Did they ever look like that?
Huh?
Did they ever look like Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
I'm not turning on, am I?
Oh my God. Tom, this is what happens when you go to too many titty bars. You start like evolving into a Marilyn Monroe because you've absorbed all of it. I don't know.
In the 90s when I was doing the comedy clubs, every now and then we would, the comedians would go to the local titty bar. I don't know where it'd be, South Carolina or Georgia or wherever. And I used to hate rap. I hated it in the 90s.
You've got
eventually grew to it. Yeah, but I'm watching the dancer, and she's doing some heavy rap stuff. And I said, all of a sudden I thought, oh man, rap is starting to make sense to me now. It's all coming to fruition. The beat mixed with the with pornographic lyrics, and it makes
So all
sense.
you,
And I like rap ever since.
everything is about your groin is basically what you.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. Aesthetic.
That's right.
It
Yeah, the
doesn't matter.
groin.
It's
The groin.
all-
Where is it? I've lost it. I finally had that amputation from my stomach on down.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about it because it's the same goddamn things happening with me. You know, I'm just terrible at. Oh, look, there you are. You're cute. Anyway,
Trying to shake this wig off, but it's not
well,
happening. It's all right. You want it funny? You're getting funny.
I don't want. I hate to admit it that I used to be one of the horniest people on earth. Now you might know that, and Sarasota was good to me in that area.
Well, when you were a rock and roll star, really, I don't think you wrote too many love songs. So
not a one.
Not a
one. There was one that was. There was one that was about sex, but that was a philosophy. Wasn't my idea, but I carried it out. No love songs.
Yeah.
That was part of our. If I started to write a love song, they would yell at me.
I wrote a lot of anti-love songs. I was probably trying to avoid it at all costs, but finally, I've written a few married songs as I've gone on in life.
No, well, I still don't write love songs. I guess but I've had love. I've had love here and there, now and then.
Exciting and new.
It's mostly destructive. What can I tell you? All right, let's talk about comedy. Because I one time went up and tried to do jokes on stage, which you might say, oh, every time I was on stage it was a joke, right? But I actually went up on stage one time in front of people and tried to tell jokes, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was like I felt wooden. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I've seen a couple of your stand-up improvisations. So when I edited your Big Wow.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Well,
That's just me.
You were pretty damn funny, and I think you had 4 straight men who were going, "Oh, Barbo."
Or the audience, Jane was like ragging me all the time. She used to object to everything I said. People used to go around. Yeah, when I was in that band, I'm telling you, they used to object to everything. They used to come around and say, you're incorrigible. That's the word they used to use. Incorrigible. I don't even know what that means. What's incorrigible? I'm going to look it up.
Well, if you don't, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. And you've been pleasing yourself for, since 16, 17 years.
Because nobody else will. I mean, I tell you. No. Sammy Ludwig. Sammy Ludwig told me probably the same thing. He's, you know who he is, don't you? But
no, did he graduate with us or something?
No, he's a guy I knew from Kent.
Oh, okay, Sammy Ludwig.
He's an unusual character.
Is he another failed comedian?
No, he's a failed musician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What does the word fail really mean? I mean, I made a few bucks for about 10, 12 years.
You want to hear a joke I made?
I met a lot of great people, and there's no such thing as fail. You had a great time, when you did the band for.
And it, yeah.
I don't see where we should consider this failing. We had a great time. We got some good memories.
Nice philosophy. You can fail at things.
Got laid a few times, so what the hell.
If you try to jump over a 6'2" pole and you don't make it, you failed. So I guess you can fail, but
that's why I did the Limbo Rock.
But well, let's see.
I can go pretty damn low.
Now let me ask you. Well, let me tell you.
I could have been a Republican. I go so low.
I wrote a joke. If you want me to, I'll give you. You can use this. You don't do jokes anymore, but how about this?
No jokes.
Insult. I got 2 insults. They're both, one stupid. One is you failed the IQ test. That's one. And the, because you can't fail the IQ test. And the other one is if Never mind. I forgot.
Man, you screwed up the joke. That was probably not going to get a laugh to begin with.
Neither of those.
Got a laugh as a result.
Neither of those jokes are going to get a laugh. I'm telling you right now. If stupid were a virtue, then you'd be a saint. That's my other. That's kind of a stupid joke, I know.
Well, you know, there was a comedian who graduated a year ahead of us. I think her name was Kathy Buckley.
Mhm.
And she went on the Tonight Show. And I got to thinking that her delivery was so good because she talked like this all the time, you know? So it made her delivery all that much
I
better.
think I've seen her.
So, I thought, well, maybe I should have said that I was kind of deaf as well. I'm talking like this. I'm not funnier when I talk like this?
You know something that's really weird? My phone is still on.
Oh my God.
I don't know how to shut the phone. This is.
Shut the phone up.
Yeah, look. I'm getting an echo here, and geez, I don't know what I'm doing. These computers, I'm like the old. They make fun of me all the time at work because I'm. All right, say something.
Something.
It's still on.
All right.
Damn, how you shut this phone off?
Well, am I coming through?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I shut it off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we back on. Have we been recording this junk so far?
Yeah, everything's recorded. You can edit that. You know what? I was going to ask you another thing. When you're doing your comedy video, if you're doing it, are you going to put in canned laughter?
Sometimes I do it, but not to say that this was funny or that was funny. I just do it to mock myself out, so.
Because, you ever watch that show on TV, The Office?
Yeah.
They don't have any canned laughter.
No, they don't.
I don't like it. I need my canned laughter,
One of my favorite shows that I forgot was really funny, but I've been watching it on the E! Entertainment channel is 30 Rock. I love 30 Rock.
Does that have canned laughter?
Baldwin, no canned laughter at all.
See, I liked canned laughter. I like canned laughter. I know it sounds terrible because it it makes me laugh. When other people are laughing, it's like contagious.
So you see what they're telling you basically is laugh at this point, even though you don't think it might not be funny, but seeing as how you hear everybody else laugh, that's one of the basic ingredients to a comedy club is that if one guy laughs, the other guy's going to laugh, and so on down the line. But sometimes you get a dead crowd, and you got to poke them with a stick or insult them or just start talking about something else.
If you can get like a little bit of laughter, it's kind of like a trickle that breaks the dam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
that's what I meant. You hit it right. Who's interviewing who?
No, I don't know. That's a good question there.
It's a good analogy. It's a good analogy. I think you're a better writer than I am. So.
Yeah, I've even given up writing because it's gotten to the point now where I write so slowly that it's not. I used to be able to sit down and write 6 pages in a sitting.
Mm.
Now I can write a half a page.
Well, I used to actually, I failed novelist.
Yeah, and who's that? Who's that? You talking to me?
Well, I've written a couple novels as well, and it's probably way too fat for my own good. But one of the things about failing.
I remember the one you did. I remember that one.
One of the things about failing is you always have to complete the process. I don't think we ever completed the process, whether it was a rock and roll band or whether it was being a comedian. Because in order for you guys to be famous as a rock and roll band, you needed to go to New York and start appearing at CBGB's or going down to LA and start
get into a recording studio.
Right, exactly. And you couldn't possibly wait and get discovered in Cleveland. Although Cleveland was the rock and roll capital of the world for a while, but the power people, the ones with the money, the ones who produce the records, are in New York and LA, and you're never going to get anywhere. And it's the same thing with being a comedian. If you don't go and do the showcase clubs in New York or LA, you're never going to make it, no matter how hot.
I think the world is changing now. The world is changing. That was our generation with this internet shit. Yeah, I mean, excuse me, internet, this wonderful internet stuff. You know, you can come from anywhere, can't you? I mean, Justin Bieber came out of Canada. I mean, you know,
it's still like hitting the lotto. I mean,
yeah. Well, doesn't it hurt if you have talent?
Even if you're a good band, even if you're a good comedian, it's still
or
like
a good
hitting
interviewer.
the lotto. It's still like winning the lotto. I mean, when I was doing it, there were probably 500 touring comedians out there, and I figure like, hey, okay, I was one of the best 500 comedians in the country, if not the world. So, you know,
don't you think that the cream rises to the top? I mean,
I guess so. I like my cream on ice cream. Tell you.
You know what I'm talking about. I mean, maybe we just suck, man. You ever think of that? Maybe sometimes I listen to me sing, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, it sounds like somebody's torturing a goose or something. You know, I mean, honest. I mean, you know, was I really that? Yeah, I guess Rob Johnson had fast hands, and Doug played. I listened to that spinning around thing. I think Doug's guitar work was brilliant on that. But
yeah, it was great.
But me, I don't know. You know, and I was kind of the main thing about the. You know, I mean, let me just say, I didn't say this before, but that band broke up because of me, mainly because I was a stupid idiot, you know, and I was also starving to death.
I thought it was Doug.
Well, Doug was not the one who broke that band up, you know.
All right, so eventually the truth comes out, because from what I understand, Paul was the one who broke the band up, but now I'm getting that it was John Lennon.
It was Yoko's fault.
Yeah, but they blamed it on Paul back in the day, because he's the one who came out with the first album.
No, he was the most type A guy. He was the most type A guy out of the bunch.
All right.
You know?
So everybody thought it was Doug that broke up Big Wow, but it was you, really. You're the one who didn't make everyone else a success in that.
Well, band, no, had I chosen to pursue it at when they had this, you know, we had the Big Wow powwow, you know, and
that's what your band should have been called. That, man, you probably could have been discovered in Cleveland had you gone with that.
That's good. Well, let's rewind.
Big Wow powwow, brought to you by free beer.
Well, when we had that, you know, the one guitar player, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to insult people online, but he wanted the drummer in him to start another band. And they came in and he started calling Doug all kinds of names, and Doug was very insulted, and so he wasn't going to work with that guy anymore. And at that very same time, I said, well, I want to take a break. And that was me who destroyed the whole thing, you know? And I'll tell you.
Why couldn't they have got another singer?
Well, no, they
singers are a dime a dozen, weren't they?
Singer?
I mean, anybody could sing. Anybody can go up there and make a fool of themselves like me and you. I mean,
I tell you something. I fake sing, you know?
They could have probably got a duck to go up there and go whack, 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 whack.
That's right.
Yeah, who knows?
I used to fake sing, okay? I used to fake sing. I thought to myself when I used to do this, if I can imitate somebody that's singing, it's exactly the same thing as singing.
Well, he did sound a lot like Mick Jagger.
At times. And I was more like Eric Burdon. I sound more like Eric Burdon than Mick Jagger.
Yeah, you know, you had a nice blend with the rest of the band to where it all sounded like...
Yeah, we were stupid. We probably gave up too soon, you know? Just like you probably could have... I know your story. I know your story about your music, your rather comedy, is that you didn't want to go away from home for long periods of time and destroy your family.
That's true. I had a couple 6-month extravaganzas on the road, and I just missed the family, and I just felt like it wasn't worth it. And you know, my daughter was getting in trouble at the time, so I just decided to.
Yeah,
it took me 14 years to realize that, and by then it was too late. But Elizabeth's doing great now, and We love
Yeah,
them.
yeah. You know, I'm wondering about my kids too. I don't want to make up any, but I have a son. My son doesn't want me to talk about him or anything ever. He doesn't want to be on the video. Oh, yeah, we're getting off track. Talk about comedy. That's what we were supposed to talk about.
That's what the editing machine is all about. That's what I should have been. I should have been an editor. That's pretty much what I do best.
I see that your editing is very good. It actually, I have the worst editing. I am terrible, and I'm, you know, and I yeah. So
I can make anybody look or sound good now.
Well,
it's all about quick cuts.
So
that's why I put in my contract that I need to edit this interview. So
yeah, but we're gonna see what we're doing right now. You know, this interview that we're doing right now. I want you to do it again in a couple of. What I'm attempting to do, and this you can edit all this out. What I'm attempting to do is like get a circle of people who are chatty and brave enough to come online and do online debates with me. The more heated, the better. You know, what we're doing is discussing right now. You know, we need to. You know what I'm saying? You saw Dean. You saw the one with Dean, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, you know, this could catch on. I mean, you just need a catchy title like the Big Wow Powwow Show.
Yeah, that's maybe I'll use that one. I don't know. I don't know yet, but the idea is that I wanted to, you know, I'm before my brain atrophies completely and I'm like a babbling idiot, you know, and they'll say, remember what he used to be like when he used to have a brain, you know? I guess
I would.
Or I could have.
And I would be another marble.
That's not funny. That's not funny. See, that's what happens to me. I'm like I said, if they had a club where people went to get irritated,
right,
I would be like the Richard Pryor of those people, you know? Oh, Frank Marble, let's go get irritated. And they'd have like big crowds, you know, and I'd be making big money and just walk out of there going, son of a bitch. You know.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we became friends, because they put us together in homeroom in the 8th grade, and you kind of wore me down. You just kept on talking and talking and talking until something clicked. I said, wow, I either better kill this guy or become friends with him so that I can say anything to him after that, and he won't get offended.
You used to be good friends with you can edit this out too. That's what's his name? Siegel. What was his name again? Sagal.
Jimmy Sagal.
Jimmy Sagal. You and him used to be good friends. What happened to that?
He was the George Carlin of elementary school. We started out being class clowns together, and I always thought he was a lot funnier than I was. As a matter of fact, there's a story when I worked with Jeff Foxworthy. You know, he said he wasn't the funny one in his family. He had 3 brothers who were a lot funnier, and he stole all the redneck jokes from them, and then that's why he became famous. I got a story about that when I opened up for him. Just before we were ready to go on, I said, hey, Jeff, I got this idea that I'd like to, you know, see if, you think it's funny. And I said, you know, you're a neo-Nazi skinhead if you watched all 3.5 hours of Schindler's List and you end up applauding at the end of it. And he said, yeah, Tom, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, Tom. Nobody does Foxworthy better than you other than me. But if you go up there and use that, it'll probably be the last time you open up for Jeff Foxworthy. But he was kidding. He was a good guy. And he knew I was kidding. What the hell? Yeah. I don't know what to do. I run into racists all the time, by the way. And I work with all these black guys, right? Well, hold on. I just want a little anecdote about that story I just told. That was when Schindler's List just came out, I think 92, 93, somewhere around there. So that's how that neo-Nazi shit came out.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Of course, it's popular now too, though.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't want to talk about that either because I'll have to.
Well, all that's behind us now. It's the Biden era.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
It's the.
Well, I was thinking about doing a video. Maybe I can do it with you. Maybe I can do it with you. There's a couple people I can pick, but I was thinking about doing a video about I hate Donald Trump more than you do video, you know? And I'm gonna say, I hate Donald Trump more than you do. No, I hate Donald, you know, like I say something like, you know, the fact that he had sex with his own daughter doesn't seem to bother anybody who's a religious fanatic.
Well, you know, Donald Trump to me has always been a fodder figure.
A fodder?
Fodder figure. He is the fodder of our country, as a matter of fact. That's the way I think about it, because, you know, he really expanded my creativity, and to the point where I actually had to stop doing parodies of Trump because it was too plentiful. And so I kind of had to put the brakes on there, but every parody I thought of, I had to throw Trump in there in some way.
Yeah, I do the same thing. You know, he's a phenomena, if nothing else. You know, what kind of phenomena, I don't know. It's like, you know, he's like a car wreck, you know? I mean, yeah, you got to look at it. You got to look at it.
Joe McCarthy was, you know, very popular for 4 or 5 years, and apparently Trump has that same.
I feel better about America now
that
they actually voted that asshole out of office. As it makes me think, why, you know, because I'm getting off on the wrong tangent.
It's all right. Go ahead.
But
wait, or forever hold your peace.
I'm just saying that the United States of America voted for this guy. He's like I don't think he's that bright. I don't think he's a retard or anything. I think maybe he's even above average. Not much above what. Marilyn, what the hell?
Trying to lose the wig. I got to keep on moving. If I keep on moving, I think I turn into Elvis Presley.
All right. Anyway, you know, and then these people come out today. I talk to them all the time. Some guy said to me at work, you know, I haven't met a single person yet who doesn't think that this entire election was completely false and fake. And I said, well, you met me. You know, I don't think it was completely. I mean, you know, who knows? You know, who knows? You know that I live in this corner of Ohio. You live down in Florida. You know, and we live in our house. We go to work. For all you know, the whole thing this could all be a bunch of baloney. You know. You could be.
Well, again, we're quoting Nazis again, but who was it? Hermann Goering, the minister of propaganda, said if you repeat the lie often enough.
Yeah. I think it was Hitler that said that, wasn't it?
I think Goering,
or what?
Minister of propaganda, Sieg Heil.
Yeah, or what was it? Stalin said. He said it's not the people that vote that count; it's the people that count the votes.
Yeah, well, I think that's the way Trump wanted to do it too.
But anyway, but our ministers. All right, I'm trying to get back to comedy.
Okay, let's do it.
Wait. So
this whole thing is comical. So what do you got in there?
Half a bottle of wine. I sat down to drink a half a bottle of wine last night, and I figured I'd drink the other half. But I got to get up early in the morning.
You know, somebody asked George Carlin once, they said, well, you know, how do you write your material? I said, well, a lot of people think that I get high all the time and that's the way I write. But he says, that's not necessarily true. He says he writes his material and then in the final editing process, he'll smoke a joint just to kick it up a notch and kind of veer it off to the right or left.
I saw that there's a law they're trying to push through Congress federally now that it's going to decriminalize marijuana. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, Mitch McConnell does not like that idea. How can we be talking about marijuana? And
did you see that? Did you see that picture I posted? It had Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies right next.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah,
and they are spitting images.
Oh man, you ain't kidding. As a matter of fact, Mitch, if you ever do an interview with Mitch McConnell, you should have the Granny wig on, like I have the Marilyn Monroe.
I'm going to try to get him on here. Yeah. There's a chance. That'll work.
Marijuana.
Oh,
marijuana. Hold on.
Okay.
I look like Mitch McConnell when I'm choking.
You know, I don't think Mitch should last much longer. That, you know, but they're just going to replace him with another Republican anyway. But he's not going to last much longer. Take a look at him. He doesn't look too good, you know?
I don't know. I think he's been dead for the last 5 years.
Now that's funny. That's funny.
It's just like Brezhnev was dead for 5 years. You know, they just hold him up in front of the May Day parade and they go like this, you know.
That's funny.
All right, thank you very much.
Ricardo's going to die any time now. I'm sorry. I apologize. Well,
all right, where are we? Come on, interview, man.
I wanted to know if you thought you were going to go to hell.
Good question. I've often asked myself that. And I figure like I've been in comedy hell many times when the crowd wouldn't laugh. And then I'd have
that's hell?
Crazy. Oh, you should see some of the gigs.
Sweat.
Oh man, some of these crazy gigs that I was in. I was over in Sebring doing like a one-night stand on a Wednesday because they'd attach a lot of these hell gigs on Tuesday and Wednesday to the Thursday, Friday, Saturday shows in the regular comedy clubs, and I did it at a bar, and it looked just like, remember that Budweiser frog commercial there where they were out somewhere in
I remember it. Yeah,
the swamps there, and they had a bar there. Well, that's just the way it was. You know, they had a deer head right behind me when I was doing comedy. They put me on a little soapbox, you know. So I ended up just commenting on all the things that were on the wall as I left the stage, and I went around the entire bar until I finally got to the people who were seated at the bar. Nobody was seated in front of me. There was nobody in front of me. There was a pool table, and then there was a bar on the other side, and they were all about 10 or 12 of them seated at the bar. See, that's hell. That's comedy hell to me. I've been in hell.
What kind of look did they have on their faces? Were they like looking like
You know, I started doing my show for the first couple minutes, and I said, this is not working. So, you know, I just started talking about all the dead animals that were posted on the wall.
Did they pay you for that?
Oh, yeah. I got like $150. You know?
Oh, man, that's pretty good.
$150 for like 45-minute work. But once I started commenting on everything, they started laughing their asses off. I went around the entire room. I finally got to them. I started mocking each one of them out on the bar. And then finally, I ended my show with playing pool. And I was playing against a girl. And I was doing like a song parody, you know. And I said, come on, now it's time to do the forbidden dance, baby. And she turned me around, threw me on the pool table and started getting from behind me going, yee-haw! And I'm at the pool table going, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be here all night. Thank you very much. Comedy hell.
Oh, no, I saw you before. You had pretty quick wit, you know, because some of that stuff was immediate. You know, it wasn't just stuff that you thought of in advance, which you should do, I think. But
well, a lot of this stuff you can just mail in and just do the muscle memory in your head and just recite it, and you know, people.
Well, isn't that what you? Isn't that I was watching?
Some audiences just won't let you. You have to talk to them in order to get them laugh, and then hopefully you can segue a lot of your material.
Need funnier jokes, man. You need funny. You need a joke that's naturally funny.
Listen, I've seen every comedian, good, bad, or ugly, do this, and they've had to do it. You do anything you need to do to make them laugh, and some people just go in there and just say, "Okay, come on, maybe."
If you fart, that's okay.
Some of them are just in a bad mood. You just never know. Every audience has its own characteristic, has their own personality.
Yeah, I used to play music. You know, the thing about difference, I'm getting off the subject again. The thing about music is if you play music and you do a pretty good job of it, people will be automatically impressed, you know, because not everybody can play music. You know, anybody can tell jokes. I'm sorry.
All right. No, see, I completely disagree with you on that. And we'll go back to my hell gig that I was telling you about.
All
right. So they had this little soapbox of a stage on there. And if I just had a guitar in my hand, I could play fucking songs all night and not care about a response. But when you're telling jokes, you need an immediate response. You need an immediate laugh. And if that's not happening, you might as well be talking to the pool table, you know.
Which is why
and they're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you for the audience not to laugh. They're going to say, hey, Mr. Funny Boy, you were paid to make those people laugh. You didn't make them laugh. So you owe me $150.
Did somebody ever say something like that to you?
Yeah, yeah. A couple times, they didn't want to pay me because there was only
Make 'em laugh.
six, 7 people in the audience. How am I supposed to make money off that? I said, well, you're the one that brought me down from Sarasota into Orlando to make people laugh. So,
Oh, that's a drag. 6 or 7 people. Jeez. I mean, we never played in front of any crowds that small ever. Never.
yeah, I never not got. Oh, actually, you don't accept a check. You always take cash for tax reasons, as well as the fact that it would probably bounce like a basketball if you took a check.
Depends, doesn't it, though? If you're like a big time. Never mind. You're right. I know nothing
Well,
about
you're not. If you're Tommy Chong or anybody like that, you're not.
Or if you're dealing with the Browns and you did a halftime show or something, you better hope that wait, let's talk about the Browns.
That's pretty funny. You're right.
That's
pretty
not
damn funny. Baker Mayfield has some pretty funny Geico commercials there going.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that.
Impressive.
I'm getting off the subject again. The Browns are going to be better than Tampa Bay this year.
It's still early in the season, and they have a pretty tough schedule. They play the Titans tomorrow, they play the Steelers, and they play the Ravens. So that's pretty.
I think they can beat the Ravens. The Ravens are like all messed up this year, man. It's the Steelers are going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, but
it's the hottest team that goes into the playoffs are the ones that usually make it to the Super Bowl. So
this is the coach, man. This coach is just doing the job, man. But all right, I'm off that subject. All right. Let me ask you some more comedy questions.
Make them laugh. Go ahead.
So, it's kind of difficult. I watch old time comedians today, and some of them just aren't even funny, but they were considered great comedians in their day.
Yeah. Well, comedy changes. It's like music changes. People, the teenagers today don't think that the Beatles were all that good, but
yeah, they do. They like
rap. Some of them do. I mean, it's all.
Beatles are exceptional in that way. I'm just like, I wasn't even that big of a Beatles fan, as you might know, but they're standing a test of time.
Because of the internet, though, possibly, but it's also because of the internet that people are finding different pieces of music, different genres to like. So I don't think there's any such thing as pop music anymore. There's just all these genres.
Yeah, it's so weird. But comedy has got to be like topical, doesn't it? I mean, it's got to be like something that you can sort of relate to,
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why it was so hard for me to do comedy is because I was a topical comedian. I usually took what was in the news. The only problem with that is that it only has a certain time until it expires. And then you can't do that anymore. Like I could sing that Pee Wee song all I wanted. It was funny back in the day, but
nobody understands it anymore.
It was still about jerking off, and that's universal. So,
well, but what about timing? That's another thing. I watched a video of Henny Youngman backstage with a bunch of guys, the other comedians, and he had them rolling on the floor, and it was funny. I was laughing, and he really wasn't saying anything funny, I mean.
I met Henny Youngman. He was over at the comedy club when I first started, and he was on his last leg, and he was. But
he like just the rhythm of
all that funny. His rhythm, he kind of lost his rhythm. He was 85 years old or something. I'll tell you a story about.
Hear that.
I'll tell you a story about Steve Allen. Steve Allen was always funny back in the day.
I used to like Steve Allen.
And he was, at the time, he was probably about 80 years old, and it was at this comedy festival, and he was ready to go out on stage. And I figured, well, man, he looks so old, but as soon as he gets on stage, I'm sure he'll have an exuberance and a bounce to his step, and, he's going to kick their ass. And he just kept on trudging on stage like he needed a walker, sat down in front of the piano, started playing, I get no kick from champagne, oh yeah, pure alcohol. And then he started telling a few one-liners and stories of the past. Half the audience walked out, and most of them were like under 40. The over 40 crowd stayed.
Oh, I would have stayed.
That's it.
Yeah. I used to like Steve Allen. He made me laugh out loud when I watched him on TV. I remember You know, I even remember some of his jokes. The one thing he was wrong about was the Bebop Louie.
Mhm.
You ever see that routine he does about Bebop Louie? He's reading great poetry.
Oh yeah, right.
And he reads Bebop Louie.
Yeah.
Bebop Louie,
Fallout Bamboo.
she's my baby. Bebop Louie. I don't mean maybe.
Yeah, Steve Allen was great. He was like
he
the
was
George Carlin of his time.
Yeah.
You know, that same show, Phyllis Diller was on. She opened for Steve Allen, and she kicked ass. She was supposed to be on for 20 minutes, and she was just as old as Steve Allen, and she wore these high heels, really high, lap dancer high heels. And so she did about 17, 18 minutes, and I was backstage, and as she was coming off, she tripped in front of me. I caught her, and she kind of looks at me.
You weighed about, what, 80 pounds?
Something like that. She looks at me and she said, "Thanks, doll." I'll never forget that. That's
wow. That's
the number
impressive.
one memory I have of all of comedy. Her, on me catching her, and she looks at me. I thought,
she weighed about.
She was going to give me a big kiss. Yeah, she was. She had bigger hair than she hair like me right now. She had I think her hair weighed more than her at the time, and I think she passed on maybe a couple of years later, as did Steve Allen. They were both on their last leg, but they wanted to make a buck. That's why they came to the comedy festival.
Is that what it was, or they just loved it?
Well, most of it was supposed to go to charity, but the big entertainers always get their full amount. Everybody kind of else works for like half the amount.
Even Jerry Lewis.
They all make a buck off those charity events. Take my word for it.
Oh, well, that's. I'm so depressed now.
Yes,
that's a depressing thought.
Okay, well, that's what comedy's all about. The more depressing, the better off it gets. Look, Stephen Wright made a career out of being depressed.
Yeah, it's good. Maybe. Well, I'm not depressed. I don't really. I don't know if you remember in high school I was depressed. But I haven't been depressed since high school. Ever since I got out of my father's house.
That's why you always made me laugh.
I've never been depressed. I mean, it's not a problem I have. Let's see, what psychological problems do you have?
I think you got out of your depression when you beat up Jim Laurie behind Petty's Pizza. Was it behind Petty's Pizza? I think one time you beat somebody up behind.
I beat up a lot of people. Yeah, I ran.
Let me tell you something about Frank. Let me tell you something about Frank Barble, audience out there, all three of you. I feel like I'm in comedy hell again. Anyway, Frank Barble, everybody thought that he was a nerd, that he was easy pickings to pick a fight with him. And he turned out to be this kick-asser that you see
with sick,
right now.
I had 5 brothers, and my dad, his hobby was smacking me in the head,
Right.
So one thing about being beaten as a child, and I know this is not a funny joke, is you learn how to roll a punch, Dad, look, nobody could land a punch because, I've been doing this my entire life. I bet you that's the truth about Muhammad Ali too. I'll bet you.
Did your father ever chase after you with a razor blade in his hand like he did the parrot?
No, not with a razor blade. Over you, son of a bitch. And everything else, sticks and
yeah. For those of you who don't know the story, Frank's dad, who was the reincarnation of Archie Bunker. As a matter of fact, I think Archie Bunker could have been based on your dad. But anyway, he was shaving.
He looked like my dad.
And this parakeet that Chris had, actually, I think I gave him that parakeet. Anyway,
you did.
The parakeet flew into the bathroom as he was shaving. And it startled Frank's dad. He said, "You son of a bitch, get out of here." And he was chasing him all over the house, chasing him upstairs, chasing him downstairs. Couldn't quite get to the parrot.
He wasn't going to kill the bird.
I think he cut about 3 or 4 of his sons by accident. He was only ragging the bird so he'd stay away from him. He was training. I don't know. He got pretty damn close. No, he wasn't going to kill the bird. I know my dad. He would not have killed that bird. I think parakeet lasagna is an Italian delicacy. Floyd, that was his name, Floyd. That's it. All right, Floyd. Yeah, you know how he kicked the bucket, don't you? I even tell you this because it was your dog ate him, right? Dog got him. It was
Stupid dog.
He thought it was a Frisbee, right?
Yeah, he was old though. I mean, how long do those things live anyway? He'd been around a few years. You know, it wasn't like he died young, but he was a great pet. You know, remember that macaw that you had or Ricky had?
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Saturday morning, I'm got
3 blocks away. You heard "fuck you."
Saturday morning, I'm gonna sleep late, right? It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna sleep till noon, I'm thinking, right? This damn macaw kicks my door open and screams. This, you know, and that thing could scream louder than any human being.
Yeah, and it almost bit half my finger off one time. It
Really bit you?
It had a sharp beak. Oh yeah, and you had to stay away.
Oh, I would have smacked him.
Boy.
He was a nice bird in a way. He liked me. But,
oh yeah.
He wanted attention, just like this. You know.
Smart bird. I had that type of hard flooring where he shit all over it, and it didn't seem to. It wasn't like a cat or.
Yeah, that house was weird. Well, you know,
we're talking shit. Come on, let's get back into the comedy.
What do you think? What else can I ask you about comedy? Well, all right. I asked you about timing, but you seem. Isn't that like a natural thing, kind of? You know, like is that the secret? Is that the secret?
Yeah. There's a certain rhythm to it. Just like music.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what you say, or maybe it does, or how the tone of your voice.
Well, that's what I was telling you about with Kathy Buckley. You know, she talks like this, so she had half the battle won because she had the delivery, and it was a tragedy that she was deaf or half deaf or whatever it was. But you know, she also wrote funny jokes. But without that delivery, I don't know if she makes it to the Tonight Show. You know, so that's why I thought, well, maybe I should be deaf too and talk like that.
I was asking you what your mental illness is.
Mental illness.
Do you have a mental illness? I can give you mine, but I'm not sure.
I think both you and I and our bands, whoever we played music with, suffer from delusions of grandeur, which I think is a mental.
Oh no, I'm totally true about it. It's beyond that with me. It's beyond that with. I live in my own world. There's nobody else hardly in my world. I live in my own
Walter Mitty
world.
Walter Mitty.
And some people have recognized that in me. I totally live in my own world. You know, I mean, I'm all by myself here. You know, and you know,
it's Frank Barbel's world. We just live in it.
Yeah, you know, you know, I don't know if you're here or not. You know, I'm just here. Yeah, but you know, I have no problem being talking to anybody. Well, I have been starstruck a couple of times, but mostly.
Who? I mean, you met somebody?
Who have I met that I was starstruck?
Bill Stiller, Steve Allen?
Ralph Nader.
Oh, Ralph Nader. Okay.
Yeah. I met Ralph Nader. You know, I could have sat down and talked to him, and I was like all tongue-tied.
You know who we met? I think you were in my class, weren't you? Alan Arkin back at
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, I was.
Remember?
I wasn't one bit intimidated because I didn't know who the hell he was.
Oh, he was great, man.
No, I saw the movie. We watched the movie.
So you didn't know who he was. You didn't see
Hard as a Lonely Hunter.
This was back in 1974, I think.
Yeah.
A year after high school. Oh man, I loved it. The Russians were coming. The Russians were coming. He did that one, and I think he did. As a matter of fact, I think he was nominated for an Oscar just like every other year. He's like one of the hot comedians. He still is. I mean, for an old guy. But
so your neurosis is that you have illusions of grandeur. Haven't you like figured it out yet that there's no such thing as, well, you know, that's what these videos are about too. You know, these are like.
We all want to communicate, whether I do a song parody or do some comedy or I do a song. It's the same thing with your interviews, and you know, you're scraping the bottom internet service. We're all trying to communicate to as many people as possible, and maybe we'll hit the lotto. Who knows? You know.
I'm like, what do I have to be secret about? What do I have to be shy about?
Right.
Why do I care what other people think? I don't.
Right.
What are they going to do? Shoot me? Cut my throat?
George
know?
Carlin, in the last part of his career, once he became 55, 60 years old, he talked about anything. He talked about kids who died tragically in pool accidents, saying, well, they were stupid to do so because, that just,
Social Darwinism.
yeah, right, exactly. And he said the same thing with, cops too,
That's what this COVID-19 is about, a lot of it, social Darwinism.
Yeah.
You hear about these guys who used to say it's phony and then they're dead,
Yeah.
So now you can go to
Carlin got away with anything that he wanted to, mainly because of reputation, but some of it is because, he was old and people say, he's just blowing off some steam. And
and then they made him the host of a
thing.
kids show on PBS.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's like, maybe you ought to make John Holmes host a kid show on PBS or something.
To this day, I'm more of a Carlinist than I am a Democrat or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not. You want to talk politics? I'm kind of a Democrat. I am. I go my own way, but George Carlin was too cynical. Yeah, this is my next. I'm doing this interview that I'm doing right now in my next video that I'm supposed to do later today, but I don't believe that everything is corrupt, which I know is a very unpopular view nowadays. So many people, everybody seems to think that the world is a corrupt place, the government is corrupt, everything is corrupt. And I don't believe that. I believe, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, if anything else. So that's not funny. I'm sorry. I wasn't being funny.
You're getting off track again. What kind of interview is this?
I don't know, man. I got a lot of editing to do now. Is this how they do interviews in the real world? They just go blah, 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 and then they cut out all the superfluous stuff and they.
That's all, folks. Yeah, that's pretty much how we do it.
All right. Is that how you? We? Let me try this.
I get final editing. Hey, you're not trying to knock off a Marilyn Monroe wig here. I have.
I am just because it's like no, it's not on you right now. No, it's on you. No,
have you set up your Christmas stuff yet? Because I got my wreath here.
No, we're not doing Christmas hardly. We're buying gifts. We're buying gifts.
No Christmas
tree.
What?
No tree. No.
So when did you exchange gifts Christmas morning?
Yeah, Christmas.
What did you get for Susanna last year?
Last year?
Yeah.
I got her, you're not going to like it, a microwave oven.
Oh, man. I bet you she wears it on her finger proudly, doesn't she?
Yeah, she, the thing is, she purposely doesn't like anything I've ever bought her. Right. I mean, I bought her emerald earrings one year. She looked at them and, like this. And then she wore them one time.
So what did she do with the microwave? She just kind of opened up the present.
Oh, occasionally she'll use it, but not much. I use it more.
She's a vegetarian. She can't thaw out meat now, huh?
Yeah.
She never.
Yeah. Well, she has actually moved more. She used to be almost a vegetarian all the time.
Oh, okay. So she cheats
but she still eats chicken and clams,
Mm-hmm.
And but that's maybe the only. I've never seen her eat beef or pork, So
pork.
So people eat pork, Let me just hear your comedy routine about pork.
I avoided pork at all costs.
'Cause I used to love pork. It was cheap.
Yeah. I didn't want to offend the Jewish audience, so that's why I never ventured into pork jokes.
I mean, you eat a bunch of pork. It's like half the price of beef. It tastes like delicious, and all of a sudden you have a heart attack. It's hilarious. That'll teach you.
You should exercise more. I mean, how did you get a heart attack? Did you think your heart attack was funny at the time?
No, I just was eating myself to death there, I think. Yeah. And I exercised.
What, from depression?
I had that job. No, I don't, because I like to eat, I mean, eating is good, eating everything in sight is a wonderful experience,
Mm-hmm.
Except for one thing. you know, you get fat. So, you know, my belly started going, and then one day, you know, I had to go lift something really heavy, and I did, and then I had a heart attack. And then I said, no more. No more.
I guess it eventually catches up to you. I always felt like I could eat and drink as much as I want as long as I exercise. And I always exercise for the most part throughout my life. I still run 3-4 miles, if not every day, every other day. And I still pump iron, lift weights, but I am starting to get a little bit of a gut, an old man gut
well, it runs in my family too. Don't forget. How's that for an excuse?
Oh yeah, that's true. Your dad did look 7 months pregnant.
Dad, my grandfather, you know, all my brothers, you know, all have a gut, you know, and it just runs in the family. You know, it's like
except for Chris, but we don't know if Chris is a full-fledged Barbo.
No, he looks more like a Barbo as he gets older. You know.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay.
I you know, he looks more like my Uncle John than my dad. You know, but.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I was gonna tell you a postman joke, but you know, this is a little risque here, even for me.
All right, what do you say about my mama? Yeah, don't say anything about my mama.
Your mom was a gentle soul. She always had a calming smile. She calmed down your dad. I think your dad knew enough not to mess with your mom.
My mom was a genius. Did you know that?
No.
She had an IQ of 167.
I think she looks the most like Sandy and who's your brother you just interviewed?
Yeah.
Dean.
Yeah.
Dino.
Yeah.
I think,
I remember my mom's glasses just as much as I remember her. What she looked like. She had these pointy glasses all the time, you know.
Yeah, that's the way they wore them back in the day. I don't think they do that anymore. Oh, some do now. Everything old is new again. I've seen those glasses.
No, let me ask you more about. I should have made up a list of funny, stupid questions, but here's my other questions about comedy because I tried to twist your arm about the timing thing. Let's see. How do you know if something's going to be funny before you go out and try it out on real people?
You don't. When I first started doing comedy, I was told that you always start with a joke, something that's tried and true that Milton Berle has been telling and gotten big laughs for years, and who knows who he stole that from. So you go out and you tell a 1 minute of jokes, and then the second minute you try to fit in one of yours, and if that works, then you continue with another one of your jokes. And if
you're good at writing jokes?
Hold on. I'm not finished with the process. The process is you got 5 minutes in open mic. Okay, that's when you first start. They always give you 5 minutes, and like I said, they always tell you the first minute you start with a joke, then try to segue one of your jokes, and if that doesn't work, you go back to the joke on the third minute. Okay, so that you still get some laughs. And then if you want to venture into the fourth minute, one of your jokes, and then you end with a tried and true joke. That's what they always try to tell you to do. So you're basically, when you first start out, you're supposed to do just 2 minutes of your own material, tops, all right? And then you build on that. If for some reason it's successful, then you take those 2 minutes and you add 2 more minutes to your next set. That way you've got these jokes in your back pocket that you can tell at any time with any audience and get a laugh, and you're still writing your material to the point where you can finally go out and make money after you get 15 minutes of your own material, because then you can be a host. Then you introduced the feature and the headliner at these various comedy clubs, and I don't know, hosts usually get about
so this is the way
$500 a week. But anyway, it's a process. It's like going to college, and it probably takes about 6 months of going up and doing open mic nights before you finally get at least 15 minutes. I was
how long?
About 6 months. So
okay.
I guess you can go up and do other people's material as long as you're doing well, you know. but I always wanted to do my own stuff. As a matter of fact, the first time I went up, I did do my own stuff. And for the most part, I bombed, as most comedians do. They just bomb. And a lot of them just don't go back and do it. And I didn't go back for 6 months after that. And then I felt like, this is still bugging me. I had a couple minutes where I actually did well. So I added on to that and I started doing good. And that's how I became a comedian.
Oh, well, that's great. Now, let me do my imitation of a comedian that I saw when I was watching these comedians and when I was hanging out with you. It's like, so let me tell you about my mother. My mother was trying not to be too oppressive, and then everybody's like sitting there, and then all of a sudden, so penis, penis.
You can't go wrong with dick jokes. I mean,
penis.
People love them.
Penis.
That's all you need.
Yeah, is that right?
I did during the war, the first Gulf War. I was doing Bob Dylan impression. It was To Blowin' in the Wind. Only, I had the guitar up there and I'm doing my worst Bob Dylan impression. And Blowin' in the Wind always has a setup. If you noticed, it starts with a question, ends with an answer. So it's your typical Jewish joke, And I think my joke was, what do you get when you cross a penis with a potato? You get an Iraqi dictator. That's you laughed. You're young, but you laughed.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good Dylan impression. I must say.
It was a dick. Yeah, that's a dick joke. Yeah. Yeah, I used that same joke a long time ago. One time.
Maybe I got it from you. I don't know. I mean, the cornier jokes, the better, as far as that Dylan.
No. What do you think about my joke? I think you flunked the IQ test. You can use that one if you want to.
Thanks. I think the last time I did stand-up was like 2 years ago, just because I wanted to prove to myself I still could, and I did. I actually got a couple offers in Tampa and Jacksonville.
Wow.
And I turned it down because I did not want to go. I did not want to go on the road.
I knew a guy when I don't know if you remember Tommy Bradbury used to live in Willoughby Hills for a while. I don't know if you hung out with me a lot back then. And he had this guy that was on his street. This, I don't remember his name now. Anyway, he was crazy, cray. Like crazy person. He was like the number one. He was intelligent as heck, but a little nuts. And he actually got to the Johnny Carson show as a comedian.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And then this is the legend that I remember his name now, but I'm afraid to say it on these videos, but he actually went to Johns Hopkins University and became a brain surgeon. So he became a comedian. Here's another part of his legend. He was on the North High School chess team, and they were like a clique, He was like younger, and they wouldn't let him play so they started a varsity B team on the North High School chess team, and he won the state championship. Anyway, there. That's where am I going with this?
If I were king of the forest.
Now, how about women? Sorry, I'm gonna get work on your divorce.
Which one?
Were there a lot of groupies? Did you get a lot of groupies as a comedian? The girls throw themselves at you ever?
Here's one thing. I talked about Tommy Chong earlier. I actually opened many times for Tommy Chong because he knew that I could deliver. And you know what I mean by that. I'm not going to spill it all over the internet. All I can say is, I'm going to Florida. I'm going to get Tommy Roz to open up for me because he always gets the best shit.
All right, I get it now. It took me a while.
And it was an easy $500 for me. But
wow.
I think the first time I opened for him, I kicked ass in front of his crowd, and he had kind of had a hard time, although the audience still loved him because going to see Tommy Chong is like going to see Mount Rushmore. But the problem was that he was actually a duo with Cheech, and it's tough to convert from.
So why didn't you try to go back and become the new Cheech? So,
I actually did a couple sketches with him as Cheech, so that was kind of cool. But here's what happened after the show, because I had one of my best shows ever at that point, and we're both, the audience is filing out, and they're saying, great show, and a beautiful girl comes up to us with holding a pen and paper and saying, will you sign my autograph, Tommy? I thought you were great. And she comes up to me as Tommy was going to grab the pen and paper, And
she thought you were Tommy Chong.
No. We were both named Tommy. So.
Oh. He said Tommy. I got it.
Tommy.
That went over my head again.
Oh, man. You just want it to go over your head. Everything that over my head is blonde, so.
Yeah. I got nothing on top here anymore.
So I said, oh, this is great. I've made it in this. She said, I think you're just going to be the next superstar. So, I sign her.
Maybe it could have been. Maybe. But,
the following, let me finish the story, Mr. Interviewer. The following day, he comes up to me just before we go on. I said, hey, you did great last night. I said, thanks, man. Thanks. Coming from you, that means a lot to me. He says, one thing, though. And I said, what? He says, can you give me a Michelob Light in a bottle?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was putting me in my place. Actually, Tommy didn't drink, but he did do a Michelob Light in a bottle blowjob joke when he was up on stage, and that's why he had me do it. But he's also putting me in my place and said, you're no Tommy Chong. You probably never will be. And he was right.
Oh yeah, and Tommy Chong was, he was the straight man, and I wasn't either. Yeah, I guess I sort of like Tommy Chong. He's not incredible, But
well, it's tough converting to be a real stand-up when you've done the Cheech and Chong sketches, because sketch comedy and stand-up is a total different animal. Mm-hmm. So when he was trying to make it by himself, once him and Cheech expired. It was tough. He did a lot of jokes. He did a lot of Milton Berle jokes, and a lot of his stuff that he actually wrote bombed. And as a matter of fact, he stole a joke from me that he put on TV that I didn't get any credit.
Well, that's good though. No, just
here was the joke. I said, what the hell was it? It's been so long.
No, you just
here it is. I stopped smoking pot when Nike started running those when Nancy Reagan started running those Just Say No commercials. But then Nike began running those Just Do It commercials, and I started back up again.
All right.
And sure enough, he stole it. And and at first I was pissed off. I said, he could at least gave me $1,000 for that joke. But as time wore on, I got to thinking, well, it's just an honor,
You have a meme in the stream of consciousness of the culture,
I'm glad he thought it was good enough to steal from me. Larry the Cable Guy did that same shit to me.
Did he?
Yeah. And at first I was pissed off, and as time goes on, I said, what the hell?
If you're one of those guys and you're trying to you got to have new jokes. You can't just be like buying everybody. You got to steal them, wouldn't you? How do you sue somebody over a joke? Has it ever been done?
Alan King had the best advice. He said, whoever who makes it to TV first is the one who wrote it. And it's pretty much true.
So, nobody ever really said, oh, that was my joke. I'm taking them to court. No, you can't do that, huh? No. I could see that trial. Your Honor, when he said, you flunked the IQ test. No, that's my joke, remember? And that was me. And then the judge says, do you have any proof? And he says, what, did you flunk the IQ test? No. Never mind. I'm sorry, Tom.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Well,
right, what else you want to ask me about?
Well, I want to ask you,
comedy.
what was a real question I have about comedy?
What the hell kind of interview are you? You should have this shit written down, man. You should have been prepared. What the hell?
Are all comedians mean?
No. They're only mean when they...
Just you?
Tell you the truth, I would say about 9 out of 10 shows I did good. I would do one bad show, and I would always follow it with a great show because I was always pissed off.
Is
I said,
there
how the hell can I
like,
let this happen? I bombed in that last show. So I got so pissed that I didn't give a shit anymore. And I went and I did good. The reason why I did good is because I didn't give a shit. I got pissed off, and that's the way to work in comedy. You work pissed off. If you work pissed off and you have no fear, then you're doing good.
well, is there like a groove that you get in? You know, is it? You know what I mean? Can you make that groove, or is it all dependent upon the crowd? I mean, can't you just get into a groove? I mean, I don't know.
You're dancing with the audience. You know, it all depends how much they're giving back to you. So if you feel like you can get away with just doing your own material, you do that. And if you feel like you have to talk to the audience, or if you have to insult the
so it's really that interactive,
lightly,
kind of completely interactive. It's what it is. It sounds like a hard job, man.
Like I said, every audience has its own personality, and you probably know that from doing
music. No, music was, it didn't matter if there was anybody there or not, you know, didn't matter who was there. You know, you're going to play music, and you practice and you make it. And some days, I mean, I had some days where we were like on the spot. We had to like perform really great, and there was a giant audience. And then everything came off perfectly, and yet I felt like it wasn't, I felt too mechanical, you know? I don't know how to explain that. But.
Well, that's not what Madonna says. Madonna, once she had nothing but artists and industrial producers and directors there in the front row, and she said, get them out of there. I don't want them there because all they're going to do is sit on their hands and judge me. So she wanted fans in there. So I think it's all about the audience, whether you're doing music or you're doing stand-up. Stand-up is probably more important, though, because you need the automatic feedback. You don't necessarily need that with the music, but it helps. It helps your performance. Whether you're doing music, you're singing, or you're doing comedy, it helps your performance when you're getting positive feedback. And if you're not getting the positive feedback, you have to go out and grab it.
So that's for comedy. That doesn't go for music.
Yeah, it goes for music too.
Because a lot of times, a good number of times when you're in music, there's nobody there at all. You know, for every hour I spent on stage playing music on stage, we spent 6 or 8 hours practicing.
You have to jump up and down. You have to do jumping jacks, whatever it takes to get their attention. That's what you have to do.
There's that, but I mean, what I'm saying is, when they cut the Dark Side of the Moon album, there was nobody there but the band and the producer, you know, and it came off pretty well, you know.
What, the album or the
album? Yeah, I mean,
there was no crowd in the album.
Yeah, there was no crowd, so you have to perform. When you're doing music, it isn't based off the crowd as much. But
it still is. That's what.
Even at all, you know what?
I'm trying to make.
There's very few live albums that I like as much as studio albums.
I've heard a lot of musicians say this crowd sucked, you know.
Yeah, maybe so, you know, but music, you have to be ready to play music like that.
Well, you can get in your own world with music. You really don't have to have the immediate response as a comedian does, but you still want a positive experience. You want them to have a good time, and you're willing to do anything to get their attention.
Oh yeah, I of course I want them to have a positive experience, but if you suck, you're just going to suck. You know, you have to be practiced. You know, you have to be precise. You know, when you're doing music. I mean,
more than likely, with the big time musicians like Pink Floyd, they're going to love you anyway based on reputation.
Yeah, that's
sometimes true. When you don't have that reputation, you do jumping jacks on stage.
Yeah, well. Anyway, I'm going to close this. I want you to do your editing, and I'm maybe tired today, even. You know, I don't know.
You know, take whatever time that you need to get it done, or you could send me the whole thing.
No, those stories. You got some good stories. I got to just chop out the stories, you know. But maybe some of the banter. But
Okay. Well, anyway, show me the edited.
But yeah, let me just point out, Tom, that I'm going to ask you to do something else later. Maybe it won't be about comedy, but it's going to be about something, you know.
Okay.
And I know that you're saying, oh, I don't know if I want to do it, but you're going to have to, you know, because if you don't, I'm going to fly down to Florida and put you in a headlock, you know. And remember, I'm pretty tough. Remember?
I know you're tough. But hey, okay, so you got this guy that you're going to interview at 6 o'clock, Omar.
Yeah.
All right. So when you interview him, and me and you have a different banter, a different relationship than you do with Omar, although I'm sure you get along with Omar just fine. But let him say his piece before you interject what he has to say. Don't be too quick. Don't do a Sean Hannity where you interrupt him after 5 words. Okay, you got to let him say his piece. If you think it's going a little boring, or if you want to interject.
The thing is, and the same with this right here. I'm listening to you because I'm tired of listening to myself, you know. So I'd rather listen to you, you know.
Yeah, well, the whole interview process, as far as you're concerned, is you interjecting and giving your opinion. But you also have to let Omar say his piece. I mean, I could talk over you at any point, and it's not that big of a deal. But let Omar say his piece before you rip him to shreds.
Okay, and of course he's gonna, you know. He's you know, yeah, I want to warn myself here. Omar could pick me up and tear me in half.
Right, I understand.
If he chose
Now,
to.
if you do interrupt somebody, you kind of say a word like "but," okay, and don't walk over his words, okay?
Oh, so you think I interrupt people too much? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think you can't walk over their words, all right? So if you feel like you need to interject, you say a key word like "but" or "Omar," or just one word where you signal him that you want to get in on the conversation. That's what most of the interviewers do. It's,
all right, Tom.
except for the Fox interviewers like Sean Hannity.
I'm listening to you.
Who will treat you more like a prostitute. You're doing it now.
Here's the way this is the way it's going to work. I'm listening to you right now, and I feel very cynical about what you're saying. But 10 minutes from now, I'm going to realize that you're right.
That's true. That's true. But, you know, like Sean Hannity, he'll interrupt you after 5 words because he's very prosecutorial in that regard. But
yeah, you know, he's just an asshole. You know,
and an asshole.
I never liked him. You know, right? True. You know, maybe it's just because I don't agree with his opinions, but I think it's because he's an asshole. But I'm not sure. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Tom.
All right. We had fun.
I'll talk to you within a week. I'm going to talk to you because, you know, I want to. I have to send some more takes. Did you look at the takes I made?
No, I'm going to do that later on after I have a few cocktails. I'm going to go run 3 miles, and I'm going to come back and drink like a fish. Actually, I'm going to have 3 glasses of wine and probably have a nice dinner from Carrabba's. Oh yeah. I drink Pinot Grigio mostly. You're a red one.
This is cheap Cabernet Sauvignon. Pinot Grigio. That's Suzanne drinks white wine. I don't like white wine.
Yeah, I eat a lot of fish, so that's usually the way it goes with wine and fish. Red meat, I guess, is. But yeah, you're a vegetarian, all right?
Yeah, vegan. Yeah, you know, I'm not religiously. It's not a religion. You know, it's just so if somebody accidentally puts egg into something and I'm eating it, I'll eat it. But you know, like 99% vegan. You know what I mean? I don't get all my son gets all, and Chris gets all bent out of shape. Like, I committed a sin. I ate some meat, or I ate a, you know. No, I'm not like that. This is purely for health reasons. And you know, it's nice to claim that I'm like holy and I respect all living creatures upon the earth and everything. But you know, carrots have feelings too, right? I mean,
I've been trying to fast one day out of the week with just nothing but water, but one time I made it till about 7 o'clock in the evening, and then I broke down. So I'm still
really,
trying.
I've lost quite a bit of weight, but it's like I'm leveling off. It's like slower and slower and slower.
Yeah, I need to lose about 5 pounds, but hey, I'm working on it.
5 pounds, geez,
yeah.
I could lose 30 pounds more.
Just the gut, just the gut. Everything else is in proper shape and working order. So
Face it, Tom. You know, I saw this thing. Do you watch on 60 Minutes not too long ago? They had this show on, this lady on. It says that 50% of the children born today are going to live to be 90 years old. That's what she said.
so that's going to be what, the new 60 or 70 or
Yeah,
what's the average age that we die? 72,
73, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Men younger.
I think,
Men,
yeah, men's 73 and women's 78, something.
yeah, she says that 50%, and then there was it's people are living now. They're not living longer. More people are living longer.
Yeah.
You know, you still die at about the same age maximum. Of course, did you see my video about the future? You know, where we're just going to download our minds into a cyborg, you know, and you live
Yeah.
to be 1,000.
Right.
That's coming.
Are we going to be able to, is it coming soon, or is it going to go faster than the vaccine? How's it going to happen?
By the time your son is old, you'll be long gone by that time.
Yeah, I'll be long gone. But,
yeah, by the time your son is old, that'll be the case.
All right. We'll be there floating around in the air somewhere.
All right, I'll see you 1,000 years from now. All right.
Okay. All right. Let me know. I'll talk to you, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. You're still there?
Yeah, I'm end meeting for all.